Hello everyone, welcome to Lit Studio by Karishma. So today we'll be discussing about Michael Foucault. There was another video that's been done on Michael Foucault wherein I promised a part 2 of that video. Certain concepts that were given by him were discussed in that lecture. Other concepts which are also very crucial, which are not sufficient to imbibe in that video or for me to adjust in that video are discussed here. So let's just look into the other concepts given by Michael Foucault. All right. The first concept would be biopower and biopolitics. Also, please make sure you watch the video, part 1 of this video, which was already given before, and then come back to this video so that everything is in place for you to understand who is Michael Foucault and what are his contributions to the theory of post-structuralism. All right. Now, let's discuss about biopower. All right. So, it's as the word suggests, bio and power. If you remember, Michael Foucault, he has done his research mostly on the theory of relations. So, in the biopower, which was first discussed in his lecture at the Collège de France, the term first appeared in print in the book The History of Sexuality in its first volume, which is called The Will of Knowledge. If the question was asked, in which book was the concept of biopower and biopolitics discussed, you should first think about the book which is called The History of Sexuality. And also in the book, it is published especially in the first volume of the book, which is titled The Will of Knowledge. So all of this book and the volume was actually published because of the lecture he has given at Collège de France. So now let's start about biopower. It is associated to the practice of modern nation states and their regulation of their subjects through an explosion of numerous diverse techniques for achieving the subjugation of bodies and the control of population. You should actually remember the book 1984 when you listen to what the concept of biopower actually is. So what happens is, or what is being happening is, the modern nation states are trying to regulate their subjects, that is the population of the countries, by using some extreme methods and trying to control them, both their bodies and mind. All right. So now the biopower is actually associated with the practice that is being done by the modern nation states, wherein they control their subjects through an explosion of numerous and diverse techniques for achieving the subjugations of bodies and the control of population. If you remember, in 1984, there is this concept of Big Brother. All the population is worried or is actually in the hypnosis that the big brother is watching them, and they have to behave in such a way that they are stipulated. There is no free will that was given to us by the God. All of them should act like robots. They are given certain rules and regulations wherein every person has to follow certain rules, and every TV channel has no other every TV has no other channels except that one that the government wants the people to watch. It is also a propaganda for the big brother. So there is no way that one can escape the hypnosis. It is actually a kind of modern practice, even though it's not to that extreme level as of now, but it is a practice that is being done by the governments in most of the countries, wherein they try to regulate and control the minds of the population, and they can get them to do whatever they want. So that is the concept of biopower. And now we move on to the concept of biopolitics. Both of these things are considered a single concept, biopower and biopolitics, so you should remember both of them. So now biopolitics is associated more with the examination of the strategies and mechanisms through which the human life processes are managed. It is The strategies and biopower is the strategies and mechanisms used, and biopolitics is the examination of the strategies and mechanisms that were used through which the human life processes are managed under the regimes of authority over knowledge, power, and the process of subjectivation. For example, even though it's not that extreme level as of now, if you observe our personal human life processes like the birth of a human, death of a human, even things like marriage have to be registered in by the government, right? Otherwise they will not be recognized. Even though a person is born, that is not enough proof for the person to be living. One should have a birth certificate, one should have a death certificate, one should have a marriage certificate. So all these life processes are managed by the government through certain strategies and mechanisms. Although all the things that I mentioned are not really in an extreme level, but at the end of the day they are also used to control and manage the population of the country. So that is the concept of biopolitics. I hope you understand the concept of biopower and the biopolitics. Let's jump on to the so now let's talk about discourse and discourse analysis. So what do you understand by the term discourse? Discourse means speech. So now, according to Foucault, discourse is the generalized notion of conversation to any form of communication. What Foucault says is that there are several types of communication, right? Like one can talk to a friend. That is regular way of talking. One can write letters. That is also a form of conversation. One can write an essay. Anything that can express one's feelings and emotions is all discourse. That is what Foucault says. It is a generalized notion of conversation, wherein anything that can be communicated is put into a conversation. That is called discourse according to Foucault. The concept of discourse is one of the key concepts of social theory, which influences many fields such as sociology, anthropology, and many others. The concept of discourse is very crucial to the field of social theory, and this field particularly influenced many other fields such as sociology and anthropology. These fields, sociology and anthropology, were influenced both by social theory and also by the concept of discourse given by Foucault. These fields influenced by the work of Foucault began to view discourse as a system of thought, knowledge, or communication that constructs our experiences of the world. Remember this, discourse, through the idea of Foucault, what it does is that it constructs our experiences of the world. That is what we've talked about. Any form of communication is put into a conversation. So, according to Foucault, discourse is actually a system of thought or knowledge and communication. When you visit something like, for example, if you visit Taj Mahal and you want to express what you have felt during your trip or what you have felt while you were watching the Taj Mahal, you can describe it to a friend. You can write a letter to a person describing it, describing your experience. Or else you can write an essay about it, you can write a book about it. So the media of your communication may vary, but all the while you are discoursing your experience. So what discourse does is that it actually constructs your experiences of the world. You are able to express it because of the discourse. Otherwise, no matter what media, without the discourse, you will not be able to express your emotion, express your experience of the world. So that is discourse. Even if you are a good orator, then also your experience would be influencing the others. For example, if I am a good orator, if I am able to use discourse very efficiently, then I can influence my own experiences onto you. I can describe my experiences in such a way that you will also feel the same amount of feelings, same amount of emotions that I have felt watching the Taj Mahal. So that is what a good discourse has a power to. Through social theory, discourse is often studied as a window into power. So that is what we've talked about. Discourse is often looked into as a window of power. One who speaks efficiently has this power to influence others. One who speaks efficiently has this power to control the discourse and thereby control how the world is perceived. Through social theory, discourse is often studied as window into power because control of discourse amounts to the control of how the world is perceived. So that is what discourse is all about. Now, let's jump on to discourse analysis. Simply put, discourse analysis is analyzing the discourse. Foucault's form of discourse analysis focuses on power relationships. If you remember, the research area of Foucault is power relationships in society. So, even in discourse analysis, Foucault mainly focuses on the power relationships in society as expressed through language and practices. These two things, language and practices, are very personal to an individual and also to a community. So these vary to a particular individual and particular community and particular culture. So these particular things, language and practices, can be studied to understand the power relationships in a society. So that is what Foucault focuses on through his idea of discourse analysis. So that is discourse and discourse analysis. Let's jump on to his other important concept, that is episteme. So now when you look at this term episteme, you should immediately remember epistemology. What is epistemology? Epistemology is a study of knowledge. So now episteme would be related somehow to knowledge. So that is what you should remember. In philosophy, episteme is a term that refers to principal system of understanding the knowledge, such as scientific knowledge or practical knowledge. So what in philosophy episteme means that it is a principal system of understanding knowledge. It might be a scientific knowledge or practical knowledge. So it is all about knowledge. Plato contrasts episteme with doxa, which means a common belief or opinion. Doxa is a common belief or opinion, so which is already existing. If you are born into a community, if you are born into a family, you will always be like, by birth you will receive them. It's not sought after. It's like you acquire them by birth. But it's not the same case with knowledge. You should seek knowledge. It's not common. Language is not given to anybody. Language is sought after by an individual. It's not common to a community. It's not common to a family or something like that. It's very particular, and one should seek knowledge for him to gain that. So the concept of knowledge is contrasted with the concept of doxa by Plato. The idea of episteme is used by Foucault in his work The Order of Things. So whenever there is a question on episteme by Foucault, in which book that is used by Foucault, you should remember that it is used in the book The Order of Things by Foucault. Alright, so now we have discussed the concept of biopower and biopolitics, discourse and discourse analysis, and episteme by Michael Foucault. So please make sure you watch the part 1 of this video for you to gain a comprehensive understanding of all the concepts of Michael Foucault. Also, if there are any doubts or if there is a clarification needed on any explanation, please make sure you comment down below so that I can reach back with a better explanation of the concept. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you.